strategic plan issue I think that we should discuss.
Is the servers or the money?
Both.
Okay. So you'll call that committee meeting, and then what time frame you think?
Before the next SAGE meeting.
Okay. Sounds good. How many people do we have for a quorum, Dia? Do you
So retain everything the way it is and just add a seat?
Oh, is it hard to have an even number on a council?
It's bad practice in case you do have a deadlock tie.
That's what I always thought, that you shouldn't have even numbers.
Well, maybe we could schedule the annual meeting for the beginning of June.
Yeah, then we would know.
We would know the outcome of the election.
Right.
So then do we have like 2 proposals that we bring? Or
What do you mean 2 proposals?
I think we should.
If we don't make a decision on this until, changing the bylaws or whatever, tell the annual meeting, and we're doing this change as well as the terms, are we doing it at the same time? That's why I'm asking.
Okay.
Do we come with, and then we need to have nominations to go along with. I guess that's why I'm trying to figure it out too.
Yeah, do you think there would be an issue with going out to the membership at large with an email vote on the additional membership tier?
I personally don't see an issue with that.
Is that how things are? I haven't even looked that far to see how things are stated as to how do we make those changes? I've forgotten.
If it involves a bylaws change, it may not be something we can. Well, I think we could probably survey or take a general vote, but I don't know if that would be the only one that we could do. We'd have to have a council meeting as well. It all depends on what the bylaws say about changing the bylaws.
You guys want me to pull the bylaws up right now?
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, me too.
Amendment of
It's in
bylaws.
Article X.
Yeah. They may be amended by a 2/3 vote of the members present at any regular or special meeting of the membership where a quorum is present, provided notice, and proposed changes or amendments are submitted in writing to each member at least 14 days in advance of the scheduled vote.
Okay. So we could do it.
Yes.
Sorry, when I brought this to the front, I never expected it to be like this intense.
It seems like we should establish the new category for billing anyway, but then the representation on the council is another question. We may have somebody in there in that slot or not.
That's what I was just thinking, Perry, that we could propose this new tier regardless if Wallowa County's district passes or not. It could just be in there.
Mm-hmm.
And but then the question is, if there's no seat on the council, if there's no one to fill that seat, where does that seat go?
Well, do we have to provide a seat for it this year? And then if we have someone move into that tier, then we make a decision about. It's another idea.
Say we have this set up so your billing is relevant to what you're serving, but until someone's actually in that spot, we won't address whether there's a seat for the council or not.
Maybe your idea about an at-large seat would be good, and then that could be either a school one or this other tier or another one.
Yeah. I mean, other groups do the at-large.
Yeah, I think that might be a good way to handle it.
Yeah, I think so as well.
So what did we decide on the decision of it, though? Are we going to do it by vote or by email? Meeting vote, I guess, or email vote.
Which part?
Creating the new tier. And then we're talking about three things now, Dia. The new tier
Exactly.
for price, and then an at-large seat, and term limits, or terms of seats. Man, it just gets more complicated the more we overthink it.
No, we're just breaking it down into smaller chunks.
Yeah, I think we should vote. I think we should do the tier at our next meeting, or vote by mail. Get it done as soon as possible, because then Wallowa County, if they're approved, will know what they're going into, or any other district in Oregon that maybe is looking at changes. In our area, Sage, not entire state of Oregon, just Sage area.
That sounds good. In reading Article X, 2/3 vote of the members present at any regular or special meeting of the membership. Is the membership, that's the Sage-wide membership, correct?
Yes.
Right. So we would have to get 2/3 of them to vote by email.
Well, 2/3 vote of the present.
Oh, a 2/3 majority. So we would have to have.
Yeah. So
of the
I
ones
guess
that vote, 2/3 would vote. Would we have to have a minimum number of people vote?
that's how I'm trying to interpret this. I don't think that. I don't think it specifies a certain amount that have to vote. Just has to have 2/3 approval.
So we'd have to have at least 39 people vote to add it?
No.
No, that's
Of
not.
people
Or
that vote,
39
for instance,
libraries, excuse me.
If 21 people vote, 14 would have to vote yes, and then it would be approved.
Where do you get
But there's
21?
but there's no minimum number of people that have to vote, from what Beth is interpreting it as.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to have a vote from every one of the libraries that are represented in Sage.
No.
Okay. Sorry, I missed that piece.
Well, and the reason I'm saying that is because it's 2/3 votes of the members present at any regular or special meeting of the membership where a quorum is present.
So you have to have at least a quorum, which would be 30?
Okay. So what's a quorum of the whole membership?
30, I think. 'Cause I just counted up the number of libraries here, and that's 59. If I counted correctly. Maybe it's 49. No,
Have we
59.
ever had a quorum at an annual meeting?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Have we ever made major changes in our bylaws except for once?
I don't think since we actually implemented them.
Well, we did make a change in June of 14 according to the bylaws. Last amended.
Yeah, I think that was when we transferred from
The
EOU.
fiscal. Yep. I think that was probably the last time we had a actual quorum present at any of our meetings. in terms of the full membership.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of a big draw.
Yeah, that was good. We had a good turnout.
Yeah.
We
And it was a big topic too, though.
We need to generate that urgency again. Somehow.
Let's not put more stress on anybody.
It seems like we should be able to get at least 30 people to respond.
I would think so. And if we didn't, we could just call them and say, hey, you need to vote on this.
Okay,
So 30
so
out of how many libraries?
80.
80. Okay.
Okay. So you're saying 80 libraries, but if you count the number represented here on this list, it's only 59.
That's true because of the districts.
Yeah. Sometimes each library doesn't get a vote. The district has a vote.
So what's the actual quorum number then?
Well, if you counted up 59, I think you're right that the quorum's 30. But maybe Beth has a spreadsheet she has with more detail. I don't know.
No, I think the 59 is right because I pulled it off the billings.
Yeah, that's where it would come from, is the billings. How many places are billed?
Right, as units. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I guess actually we are only talking 58, not 59, because we don't have anybody in that public library's 4,000 to 7,500 yet. Even though there's a 1 there at the moment.
Oh, that's where you're getting the numbers from,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, and like Beth says, if we're going by billings, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so have we reached I feel like we're just running around and around circles. Does someone want a motion about this?
Well, but we can't because we don't have a quorum.
We don't have a quorum, damn it. Well, so can we
have a
decide if it's going to be
consensus.
given for a vote without a quorum?
No, we can't vote. We can note that we have a consensus of those present.
A consensus
our
of those
opinion.
present, and then at the next meeting we would have to vote that we want this to go to a vote of the members.
Mm-hmm.
So we're putting it off until, when's our next meeting? In 2 months? March 20th is our meeting, so it would be like, the soonest we could do it is the day after. I guess that day we could put it out for a vote and give it a while. But they have to be notified because is that a bylaw change? So they have to have 2 weeks notice?
14 days, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is adding, excuse me, is adding a category of membership a bylaw change?
It is not.
I didn't think so.
Yay. Good.
Only the
So
number
we
of
could
the seats would be, the composition of the council would be, but not.
not just the tier.
Right.
Okay. Well, I think that's our first step to get that going. Does anybody disagree with that or agree or?
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
Anybody else?
Agree.
I agree.
Any disagreements?
No, not at the moment.
Delia agrees. I was waiting to see if Delia was because she's the other council member I hadn't heard from.
Right.
So,
Yeah, she just said she agreed.
yep. So
Okay.
all
So
of
we'll
the
put that
council
on next
members that are present
agenda, or
agreed.
we'll do that on our next agenda, and hopefully we have a quorum. We could reach out to the members and say that we really need to make a decision on this, and could they please attend the meeting?
We could also do a vote by email of council members.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Okay, wait a second. I'm just trying to make sure I get this straight in my brain what we're talking about. We're voting on adding the tier
Correct.
at the next
Which
meeting
was not a
or via email?
Well, Beth
via email
reminded
was
us that we
my
could do it by
suggestion.
email. Yeah, so we could do it right away.
Okay.
I'd rather do it sooner than wait for the next meeting if email would work.
Okay. Well, I was just trying to get it straight so I knew what to put in the minutes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the proposal is to add a tier and vote on it via email.
Yes.
Okay. And who's going to pull that together and send that out?
I could do that.
And are we just sending it out to council members?
Yes. Because they'd be the ones voting, correct?
I believe so, since it's not a bylaws change.
So if you could send me a list of council members, Dia or Beth, then I would send it out.
Okay.
Okay.
So do we want to talk about the bylaw proposals from last month? Or did we pretty much talk that over? Now we just have to wait till we get a quorum to vote.
Well, I think we need to work on a written draft of what we're proposing. If that hasn't been done at this point.
All I did was pull some notes together. I didn't put anything, I don't think, did I?
I don't think so either. I haven't seen one.
There was an original proposal that you gave to the council, I think, Dia.
Okay, I don't have
But
it.
it wasn't any official language.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I thought it was mostly just kind of a notes.
Yeah, because we were in the discussion stage.
Yeah.
Information of it. If we look at last month's minutes, it says, I mean, it's just notes, just like you said.
Well, and I guess the other piece of it is, if we're looking at making some shifts within the number of council representatives via the breakdown, that could affect, I guess, in the long run, but not necessarily making the change to 3-year. Because it's kind of a two-pronged thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess making that change would be the first step, and then adjusting the terms would be the other piece to make the adjustments.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then once the bylaws are, approved, if they are with the 3-year term limit, then we'll have to figure out how we implement it logistically.
Yeah. Because there's some, when you look at the spreadsheet, there's some public libraries in the, 5,000, 15,000 say. There's 6 libraries, but only 2 seats on the council. Or the other one, 7 libraries and 3 seats on the council. Are there realistically, of those people that aren't on the council currently, other people that would be willing to step up and be on the council if there's only 3-year terms? And how long, once you're off for 3 years, are you off for 1 year and then you can be on it again, or how long a time is that?
I don't think there is anything that says you have to be off for any length of time, because we have several that have gone year after year. their term expires and they're reelected. Especially in the schools, we've had that.
Right, exactly. Okay, so that's not an issue that we'd be facing.
I don't think so. Perry or Beth, do you know anything different?
I think we took that out, that stipulation.
Okay.
We may have had it
For
at
that
one point.
reason. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
This is Deneen, and because it used to be that way, you had to take one, whatever the limit, I think it was 2 years off before you could be back on, and that was about 3 years ago. But while I was off the council, maybe you did change that.
I think there were some seats that were just hard to fill. And
My guess is when that was adjusted was probably in 2014 when we made the switch to fiscal and we readjusted the bylaws. Probably for that very reason, it was hard to fill some seats.
yeah, and I think we left it that we were going to encourage new folks to participate and try to rotate it, but if we couldn't, we didn't want it mandated by the bylaws.
Okay. Is there anything else for today's meeting that we need to discuss? Any ideas for a location of the annual meeting that we should start inquiring about? No? Okay.
I think in the past we've asked for volunteers.
Oh, okay.
And haven't we tried to do it kind of somewhat centrally?
Yes. Yeah, central location as much as possible.
Which is kind of weird in our situation because there's all sorts of things that
So
could
it's
be.
Central Pendleton or?
We've had it in Hermiston a couple of times, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to think where else we've had it in the last few years. I don't know. I just remember Hermiston.
Yeah.
And Hermiston was where we had the most turnout, so
Right.
maybe we should stick with that.
Did we do it in LeGrand one year, Perry?
I don't remember doing a general membership meeting in LeGrand.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, I'll reach out to Hermiston and see if he's open to having the meeting there again this year, if that's okay with everybody.
Well, we kind of need to figure out when that would be. Were we talking the first part of June?
I hate to have a meeting in June. What was summer reading?
Well, I hear you,
I mean,
but that was
that's
the last I heard. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah.
That's the last I heard too.
I'm thinking that now that we're making the decision on the membership tier separate, maybe we can still do it at the end of May because we would know the outcome of the election for Wallowa County. And the bylaws changes don't have to incorporate that new level this year as far as a seat on the council.
Right.
Well, then
So
looking at May, what about May 18th? That's the Friday before Memorial Day weekend. Not the 25th is Memorial Day weekend, so I wouldn't want to do it then.
No, I was going to say stay away from holidays. I think that's why we don't have very many people today.
Yeah. Well, that could be. What about Friday the 18th?
Kathy, the OLA Leadership Institute is happening at that time.
Oh,
we don't want to
You're
do it then.
attending that?
Well, I applied for it, but I haven't heard one word from them.
But we don't want to make people make a choice between that kind of thing either.
No? But we could go earlier. We could go May 11th.
We're supposed to have a Leo board meeting that day.
Dang it. Well,
How
could we
about-
have it after the Sage one? And
What
the same
about- June 1st, that Friday.
June 1st. Yeah. Yeah, because summer reading won't be going yet in our area because they don't get out of school then. Any negatives on June 1st? I'm just going to go with it and talk to Mark. Okay.
I think the fact that we're setting it earlier than later, I mean, in terms of setting the date, is probably a
I think that helps.
better thing than leaving it to the last minute and then scurrying.
Yeah, what time of day does it typically start? At 10
Yeah.
or 9? 10, and then we eat lunch, and then we meet after lunch?
Hmm.
Or is it just 10 to noon, and then we eat lunch and we're gone?
Well, we had some special guests before, like Darlene, people from the state library. So
Oh,
we're
maybe
trying to make
Rochester State Library. Okay, I'll
Like
work on that.
incorporating some sort of
Training.
hearing ed or something.
Right.
Ah. And then do we have a budget for lunch, or does everybody pay for lunch, or how does that work?
Sage has in the past paid for lunch.
Okay.
Kathy, I don't know if you saw Delia's text or chat message. She said if Hermiston Public can't host, I think we can probably figure out something.
Oh, Delia, where are you from?
She's Hermiston. She's in the schools. So she's,
Oh, in the school.
I think she's part of the administration.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, I'll work on this. Okay, anything else? So 10 to 2, is that typically the time frame?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. Can I ask a question about the circulation Cat 2 level training you had, Dia, before we sign off? You said 20 people attended. That's a great turnout. Were you surprised?
I was a little bit, but I'd gotten a lot of good feedback from folks when I announced the training.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to keep doing them and have focused topics that we're working on.
Okay, great.
Maybe not quite as often as some of the folks would like, but
Yeah, I thought
we
about
will
doing it
try.
every week, but I don't know whether
I think if we can
keep
do monthly, I think we're going to do well.
that.
I think so
Maybe
too.
I'll try bi-weekly.
Yeah, that.
Dee, are you the
Okay.
chair of the cataloging committee now?
Yes. Nobody else would do it this year, so I got stuck.
Okay.
Thank you, Dia, for doing that. I really, it's such an important part of SAGE that someone has to do, but there's so many of us that aren't qualified, myself included.
Dia,
Yes.
I was wondering when the next cataloging committee meeting is going to be, or the next
Good question.
time you guys are going to get together.
The next cataloging committee meeting will be the 5th of February at 11
Great,
a.m.
Thank you.
And we will send out a notice on the Sage Cat list. Are you part of that?
I am not sure, actually.
Okay.
Good question.
If you're not, would you send me an email to let me know what your contact information is, and I'll make sure that you get a copy of the agenda and the connection information if you're interested.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. I'm assuming that that's the Gallic, Wasco County? Kristen, is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The name was escaping me for a moment.
Quite all right. So I'll go ahead and send you that email if I'm not part of the system already.
Okay, great.
Great.
Okay, if there's nothing else today, the meeting will be.
Thanks, Kathy.
Okay, thanks. Beth, can I call you
Thank
in a
you.
minute? Your own phone?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Okay, great.